The Broncos beat the Chiefs 24-9. Broncos beat the Chiefs 24-9. A couple of things to talk about here quickly. And just two things, and we'll wrap this episode up here. Episode 70. Number one, Broncos beat the Chiefs, right? So Broncos win 24-9 at home. It's cold. It's, tough conditions. Mahomes has the flu. He throws for 241 and 2 picks. Kelce, 6 catches, 58 yards. Chiefs don't score a touchdown. Normally, I could honestly care less about an athlete. Well, I don't want to say care. No. I actually, you know what? No, I will say, because I was going to say I don't care. You have to care a little bit, but I do. Normally, I could care less if an athlete, whether they're in season or out of season, is partying, socializing, out in public, doing things, and being responsible. Now, obviously, if you're an NFL player and there's video of you at the club the night before at 3 a.m, doing tequila shot, I don't know, like that would be a great look, right? But if we're being honest here, if you saw, Jamar Chase at the club on a Saturday night before a Sunday day game, and then he goes out on Sunday and has 14 catches for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns, I'd be like, well, I guess he can handle it. And that's typically how I feel about most of these situations. Also, most athletes don't put themselves in those types of spots. And I'm not saying that that's the case, but there seems to be a little bit of a scuttlebutt here, a little bit of a narrative getting pushed around about Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes in Texas on Friday night, watching the World Series game, seen after that game later that night out at the club, or not the club, but seen later that night out at the bars in the surrounding areas by the stadium. Now, there was no video of them getting completely hammered or being crazy. And I'm sure they were probably done by midnight or 1 a.m. anyways in bed. But it was a little bit interesting because it's not like that was in Kansas City or in Denver, right? That was in Texas. So that means Kelce and Mahomes flew to Texas, flew back to Kansas City potentially, or flew straight from Texas to Denver. And then Mahomes is kind of sick. Kelce doesn't play very well. They lose. They don't look good. So all this stuff starts to get magnified. I don't think the Chiefs losing to the Broncos is as much about Mahomes and Kelce partying or just being out and about on a Friday night, as it's more so I think the Chiefs just looked right past the Broncos, right past them. Because their next game's against the Dolphins in Germany. So okay, we're going to win this game, and then got the Broncos, we'll beat them. And then what a game we got going with the Dolphins. Whoa, hold on. I mean, the Broncos, the team that held you guys to 19 at home 2 weeks ago, now you're at their place and it's 28 degrees and you're in Texas on Friday night. I think it was a recipe. It was an absolute recipe for disaster for the Chiefs. If we're being honest, yes, they sit at 6-2. They're fine. Their defense has been really good this year, but through 8 games, Mahomes is probably having one of his worst 8-game starts of all his seasons in the NFL so far, which is still not saying very much because even Mahomes at his worst is better than a lot of guys at their best. A lot of people watched Mahomes play against tough defenses this year, and he struggled, to say the least. So I'm not saying I predicted the Chiefs lose to the Broncos. I don't think many people did. But if I'm Mahomes and Kelce, rest of the season, probably just going to try to just not be halfway across the country 2 days before a game at night, seen drinking beer. That's all. I know it's the World Series. I know it's a big deal, but let's try to stay locked in a little bit more, just a little bit more. I'm not saying that's the only reason. I'm not saying that's why Mahomes got sick. I'm not saying that's why I lost. There's a lot of reasons, but the Broncos look past him. Find that clearly they look past him. Right? I mean, obviously, put it this way. You think you're going to see Mahomes and Kelce out on a Friday night before they play? Who do they play? That's pretty significant. I know I mentioned the Dolphins, but okay, yeah. Here's an example. You think Mahomes and Kelce will be seen out and about, especially at a bar, especially in an entirely different state 2 days before a game against the Bengals on New Year's Eve? Probably not. And I'm not saying that's why they lost, but they probably felt a little bit more comfortable doing that this week, going into a game against the Broncos, because then they got to play the Dolphins the following weeks, the next game in Germany. They were 100% just looking past the Broncos, a team that held them to 19 points 2 weeks ago. So if I'm the Chiefs, let's just stay home, right, on a Friday night. Or if you're going to like be seen, you know, like there's not a ton of stuff going on in Kansas City or Denver, to be honest, at the moment. It's like just, yeah, I don't know. Yeah.